Let me start with a very common situation. Imagine your 7-year-old refuses to study. You explain patiently once, then again. You try to convince them with love. But they're still not listening. Finally, you lose your patience. Maybe you slap them, maybe you shout loudly. Within seconds, your child quietly picks up the book and starts studying. And somewhere inside, we tell ourselves, see, एक थप्पड़ काफी था. अब तो पढ़ रहा है ना. At that moment, it feels like it worked. But today, I want you to think beyond that one moment. Because the real result of that step is not seen when your child is 7 years old. It often shows up when the same child becomes 14 or 15. Now you ask them to study and they answer back. You raise your voice, they raise theirs. Sometimes they don't even argue, they just simply ignore and walk away. And then parents ask me, Achal, when my child was small, they listened to everything I said. What changed? The answer is simple. When children are young, they depend on us completely. So when we shout or hit them, they become scared. Their brain is not thinking my parent is right. It's thinking, how do I escape from this situation? That's why they become quiet. But as children grow into teenagers, something changes. They naturally start thinking for themselves. They question things, they have their own opinions, and they're no longer scared as they were at 6 or 7. So the fear that once made them obedient slowly stops working. That's why I always say fear has an expiry date. If a child's behavior was controlled only by fear, then the day that fear disappears, the child doesn't suddenly become bad. They simply stop obeying out of fear. And that's when parents feel, मेरा बच्चा तो पूरी तरह बदल गया. The child has not changed overnight, parents. The parenting method has stopped working. And that's why the real question is not, did the slap work? The real question is, what was my child actually learning all these years? So let's understand that. Now, many parents may be thinking, okay, Achal, I understand that fear doesn't work forever. But at least my child studied after that slap. Isn't that better than not studying at all? Valid question. But here's something I always tell parents. Children don't just learn what we teach them, they also learn how we teach them. For example, maybe your intention was to teach your child the importance of studies, but your child may have learned something completely different. They may have learned that when someone is stronger than you, they can make you listen by using fear. Now, I'm not saying every child who is slapped will become aggressive, but children learn much more from what they see than from what we tell. If we expect them to solve problems calmly, they need to see us solving problems calmly too. The second thing children often learn is to hide their mistakes. Think about it. If every mistake is followed by shouting or fear, will your child stop making mistakes? No, mistakes are part of growing up. What usually changes is this: they stop telling you. A young child may hide a broken toy. Later, they may hide poor marks. As teenagers, they may hide friendships, relationships, or problems they are struggling with. Not because they don't love their parents, but because they're afraid of the reaction. And when children stop sharing, parents lose the opportunity to guide them. There is one more thing that I feel is very important. As parents, we want our children to learn emotional control. But if every time we are angry, we shout or raise our hand, what are we modeling? We are unintentionally teaching them that when emotions become too big, it's okay to lose control. Children don't learn emotional regulation because we tell them to stay calm. They learn it by watching us stay calm when we are angry. That's why I always say children are watching us much more than they are listening to us. So yes, a slap may stop a behavior for that moment, but it does not teach responsibility. It does not teach self-discipline. It does not teach emotional regulation. Those are the skills that are built through connection, consistency, and conversation. Now the question is, what do you do when you are so angry that you genuinely feel like shouting or raising your hand? Now let's talk about that. I know what some parents are thinking. Achal, all this sounds good, but what do I do in that moment when I'm so angry that I actually feel like shouting or slapping my child? First of all, let me say this. You are human. You will get angry. The goal is not to become a parent who never gets angry. The goal is to become a parent who knows what to do with that anger. The first thing I want you to do is pause. The moment you feel your voice getting louder or your hand wanting to rise, don't continue the conversation. Instead, say something like, say, Bacha, I'm very angry right now. I don't want to say anything I'll regret. So let's take some minutes. I'll talk to you when I calm down. Parents often think that walking away means they have lost. Actually, walking away for a few minutes is emotional maturity. You are teaching your child that even strong emotions can be handled without hurting someone. Now, once you have calmed down, don't pretend nothing happened. Come back and have the conversation. Instead of saying you are so lazy, talk about the behavior. For example, bacha, you didn't complete your homework even after we agreed on a time. Because of that, you won't get your screen time today. Notice the difference. You're not punishing the child because you are angry. You are giving a consequence because a responsibility wasn't fulfilled. Consequences teaches responsibility. Fear only teaches obedience, and the two are very different. Then comes the most important part, the conversation. Ask your child, bacha, help me understand what happened. Was the homework difficult? Were you distracted? Is there something I'm not seeing? Sometimes you will realize your child was simply avoiding work. Sometimes you will discover they're overwhelmed, anxious, tired, or struggling with something they never told you. You will only know if you talk to them. And if you are wondering, won't my child think they can get away with anything if I stop shouting? The answer is no. Calm parenting doesn't mean there have to be no boundaries. It means your boundaries don't change according to your mood. Your child knows exactly what the expectation is. They also know what the consequence will be if they don't meet it. And that's what builds responsibility over time. Remember, our goal is not to make children obey us because they are scared. Our goal is to help them make the right choices even when we are not standing next to them. Because that's the real purpose of parenting. Now, some of you might be thinking, Achal, my child is already 14 or 15. I have shouted at them. I have slapped them. Have I already damaged my relationship? My answer is no, it's never too late. As long as you are willing to change, it's never too late. Children don't expect perfect parents. They want parents who are willing to understand them and grow with them. If this is something that has been bothering you, choose a quiet moment. Not after an argument and not while correcting your child. Just sit with them and say, Bacha, there's something I have been waiting to tell you. When you were young, I shouted at you many times. Sometimes I even raised my hand on you. And at that time, I honestly believed I was doing the right thing because that's how I was raised. But today, I have learned that there's a better way. I'm really sorry if I hurt you. And then stop. Don't justify yourself. Don't say, but you were very naughty or you forced me to do it. The moment we add but, the apology loses its meaning. Simply take responsibility for your behavior. That's one of the greatest lessons you can teach your child, that even parents can accept their mistakes. Your child may not respond immediately. They may stay silent. They may just nod and walk away. Please don't expect anything to change in one day. Trust takes time to rebuild, but don't underestimate the power of a sincere apology. Sometimes children are not wanting for perfect parents. They are simply wanting to know that their pain was seen. Now, before I end this video, I want you to think about your own childhood for a moment. Many of us were slapped, shouted at, or scared into listening. Our parents loved us. They were doing what they believed was right because that's how they were raised. This video is not about blaming them or you. It's about making a different choice now that we know is better. Maybe you can't change your childhood, but you can change your child's childhood. Maybe this pattern has been passed down for generations, but every generation gets one opportunity to break it. Maybe that generation is ours. Imagine your child becoming a parent one day. What do you want them to remember? The fear, the way problems were solved, or that even during a difficult moments, home was always a safe place? Because that's what parenting is really about. Not raising children who obey us because they are scared, but raising children who trust us enough to come back to us whenever life becomes difficult. If this video made you reflect, share it with another parent. These conversations can change families, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. What's one parenting habit from your childhood that you have decided not to pass on to your own child? If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to Parenting with Achal. Every week we talk about practical parenting strategies that help you build a stronger relationship with your child. I'll see you in the next video.